And Steve, people, I mean, you know, a lot of people growing up remember you playing in 2 Super Bowls against the Giants. You played against the Dallas Cowboys. And you beat my childhood team a lot growing up, the Steelers. What was it with the Steelers? I mean, I think the Broncos, when you played during the 70s, when they won 4 Super Bowls, I think Denver had Pittsburgh's number every time.
Well, I'll tell you, we didn't have their number every time. I remember us being 13-3 and playing at home, and they beat us pretty bad. And we had one of the best records in the NFL at that time. But when we went to the Super Bowl that year, we had a very, very good defense, and we had won the division and had the right to play all the games in Mile High Stadium, and it was pretty electric. And so Pittsburgh was in the midst of their 4 Super Bowls. They had a great team, and we had their number that year in Oakland. We beat Oakland twice that year, and a third time to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC Championship. But we had all the games at Mile High.
Yeah, Steve, what was it like? You're number 3 all time in return yards with Denver. You had 622 return yards with the Broncos. What was it like returning back in those days and compared to now? I mean, what was that like? I mean, you were a dual player with the Broncos.
Well, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that I had that many yards or anything. But no, it was. We also had Rick Upchurch, who was a probably one of the top 2 or 3 returners of all time so far. Yeah. I think it was Dante Hall that just tied his record. I mean, they used to not punt to Rick Upchurch.
Yeah.
And in that game against the Steelers in the playoffs, he returned one and broke the game wide open for a touchdown.
Steve, we're going to take a break. You mind coming back with us for a short time?
Not at all. Enjoy it.
Talk about Tulane. You played with a friend of mine, John Anderson, I believe, a linebacker. At Tulane back in the day, and I wanted to talk to you. We'll be right back with you, Steve, and talk more about Tulane and the NFL. You're watching Louisiana Football TV Magazine.
Does your office need an update? Shop Office Furniture World, where you'll find one of the largest selections of quality new and pre-owned office furniture in the area. We carry a large selection of cubicles, metal desks, file cabinets, bookcases, everything you need for starting a new business or updating one. From the reception area to the boardroom, Office Furniture World can enhance the look of your office at a fraction of the cost. Visit Office Furniture World on Coursey Boulevard today.
I studied orthopedic medicine
to help improve lives.
I practice at the Bone and Joint Clinic
because people, real people,
just like you, deserve to be treated by experts.
Where everything you need
is right here.
We offer imaging and treatment,
orthopedic surgery,
and full rehab.
Because we want to see you get better.
If you're looking for the gear you need in the colors you bleed, then make your first stop Co-op. Much more than just a bookstore, Co-op has the largest selection of LSU merchandise for the whole family, including tailgating supplies, LSU clothing and accessories, great gifts, and a whole lot more. Stop in or order online for the best prices on art supplies, school supplies, and textbooks. The Co-op Bookstore, where you'll always find the gear you need in the colors you bleed.
A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. What's yours? Balance. Strength. Agility. Power. What's holding you back? Get fit with Reaction Sports Training, specializing in customized programs for the athlete in you.
Louisiana Office Supply is the largest stocking office product store in the South with a new 23,000 square foot showroom. For over 72 years, Louisiana Office Supply has met the demand for quality office products competitively priced with an extensive selection and knowledgeable staff. From office furniture to Post-it notes, there are supplies for every part of your office. Louisiana Office Supply, generation after generation. Exceptional service since 1936.
Check out our website, LouisianaFootballMagazine.com, where we have an article on ex-Denver Bronco quarterback Bubby Brister, and also a story on Aaron Thibodeau, a defensive end from a high school in North Louisiana, that you'll really like the story that we did on Aaron Thibodeau. He's 6'3", 230 pounds, really quick defensive end. We're going to go back to Steve Foley. Steve, I want to talk a little bit about your game in 1981 against another team that I grew up liking, the San Diego Chargers. You had 3 interceptions. Was that against Dan Fouts?
It was.
Eric Coryell, you had 3 interceptions. I mean, that's when they had Troy Joyner and Kellen Winslow and that whole great receiving staff they had. Was that one of the better games that you've ever had as far as interceptions?
I'd have to say so. 3 in a game is a lot, and especially against a guy like Dan Fouts, who's a Hall of Fame quarterback and just had an incredible delivery. But anytime a guy puts the ball up 50 times a game like they did, you know, you can get a little bit of good fortune. And so,
Steve, what do you think of the NFL now compared to back when you played from '76 to '86? I mean, what do you like about the game, or some things that maybe you don't like compared to when you played?
I think one of the things that is impressive to me is how big the players are. More not at the skilled positions as much as the linemen and the linebackers. I mean, we turned Elvis Dumerville this year from a defensive end into a linebacker, and he's already got 8 sacks in the first 4 games.
Yeah.
He's 5'11", about 250, but as an outside linebacker, that's huge.
Right.
When outside linebackers used to be 220, 230.
Yeah. He had a great game against Dallas, a real good game against Dallas.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I don't like as much, but it's probably better for the players, is that they get traded around so much that there's not a lot of continuity sometimes for the fans. That, like in Denver, we got a whole new team this year, and you get used to them. And if they're good, it's great. But if they're not, it's kind of like, you know, where these guys come from, and you don't get to really grow with them as much. So you kind of grow with individual players instead of a team.
Yeah, and back when you played, I mean, the whole team, most of the team was together for 8, 9, 10 years, you know. And
yeah, I mean, I would rather have played in free agency for sure, but because the New Orleans Saints at one time had offered to make a trade for me, and my defensive coordinator wouldn't go for the trade, so you were stuck, you know. And so did San Diego, which I wouldn't have minded because they'd have doubled my salary, but you were pretty much stuck playing whoever had you.
Well, I want to mention, too, you had a daughter that was a gymnast at Stanford recently, I think to 206. I mean,
yes.
You have to be proud of that. You have a son, and tell everybody what you're doing now in Denver. I mean, you're still in Denver.
Well, yeah, I got a son named David who's 27, and my daughter Natalie, 25, both great kids, and I am in Denver and doing land development, and which is pretty much dead right now. You know, Louisiana's got a little bit of a pulse because of Katrina, and it seems like there's, you know, some good things going on there in Louisiana, but boy, in a lot of places in the country right now, like land development is just pretty much dead. So we'll be doing a little bit of real estate here, whatever we can, just to keep the doors open and wait for the economy to come back in the next couple of years.
I want to ask you, too, Tulane Stadium is where you played. The last year, I believe, was 1974. People don't realize you didn't play in the Superdome. And what was it like playing in old Tulane Stadium?